ESL presents ESL Challenger League in partnership with Intel, Acer Predator, DHL,
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to ESL Challenger League Season 51. Europe put on quite a show for us, but that's all done and dusted. We turn our attentions now to South America. I'm Nari Mizuki, and joining me, of course, is the wonderful Grimmy Rana. Brady, good evening. How are you doing tonight?
Good evening. I'm doing excellent as always. Even better now that I get to share this broadcast with you, and even better that we've got some South America action. And don't let your eyes deceive you. As much as I'd love to be Neo and Scriv, we ain't them.
No, sir. No, we are not. But hey, one can dream. One can dream. Let's come out of that dreamland back to reality. As mentioned, we're diving into South America now, and it's been quite a bracket, right? We haven't had the okay, we'll have a look at the prize pool first. So this is kind of what the split is looking like. Teams kind of battling it out to see what their prize is going to be, and then of course there is that very coveted spot in the regional qualifiers at the end, which could in turn end up being a spot at Pro League. So quite a lot on the line here. And now looking at our bracket, you know, we're missing out some of the more heavy artillery teams, right? MIBR 1, Cup 1, they don't need to be here, but there's still a lot of really strong talent in this bracket so far. So how are we feeling about how this is shaped up?
I think by and large it's kind of as you'd expect, right? Like there's a lot of the bigger names missing. So if you kind of compare where we are at this stage to the previous ESL Challenger Cup, the Series 1, so like, you know, finals, MIBR versus Odic, you have Sharks being knocked out in this round, so the round that we're playing right now, you know, like that's where Sharks were. They knocked out Imperial the round before. Red Canids being knocked out the round before. So what it means basically is that it's a really good opportunity for a team that wouldn't ordinarily be maybe qualifying for one of these regional finals. Like it gives them that shot, it gives them their opportunity, and it kind of confirms the ESEA path to pro if you can go from Challenger to Pro League, which is the whole idea, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, it's really exciting because during Cup 1 there was a lot of crossover, and so a lot of games unfortunately didn't end up happening. And one of the teams that suffered from that was Vivo. They ended up kind of dropping out really early in Cup 1 and didn't have an opportunity to, you know, progress or see how far they could make it. Now, arguably, this is probably one of the best opportunities for a lot of the teams here to snag that spot, because as mentioned, there are quite a few teams that are missing from this. So maybe we can kind of focus in on the individual teams now and have a look at, you know, who's going to be on the server, what that's looking like, because for the most part, by and large, there's nothing too crazy coming out today. I think for Keydstars, you know, obviously they've got two new-ish players, not terribly new, but, you know, the last 3 weeks or so. So what do we think? Do we think that these guys have kind of elevated this team, and maybe this is going to be that opportunity they're looking for?
I don't really know where to place Keydstars. You've kind of got that really cool like journeyman of Koot Merits, who just always seems to be popping around this level of South American Counter-Strike, but I can't say he ever makes too big of a splash. I mean, in yesterday's game against Shinden, he single-handedly won a couple rounds on Dust 2, but apart from that, I mean, Lash did alright on the AWP, but it was very, I don't know, I wasn't really blown away. And it was very obvious they were outclassed by Shinden, but they seemingly outclassed Uno Mille a lot of the time, as these teams do come head to head quite a lot. And Uno Mille really struggled to post victories against a team like Keat Stars.
Yeah, I mean, they met up a little bit earlier on in the bracket as well, right? Round 1, Keat Stars versus Uno Mille 2-1. So, fairly close, but definitely not the result that Uno Mille were wanting, particularly because, as you mentioned, they're generally coming off on the, the back end of that. We are going to be jumping into the game in just a moment, but of course we didn't get a chance to go through that veto, Freddy, so I don't know if you've had a chance to have a look at that, if you've maybe got some insight into it for us.
Yeah, so as mentioned, these two teams have played each other multiple times recently. They've got 2 games in the last 12 days, and the veto went the exact same way in those games. Uno Mille pick Overpass, Keat Stars pick Mirage, Dust 2 as a decider. Today, however, Uno Mille have really kind of rocked the boat, and the reason why I think they've probably done that is due to them losing the last 2 encounters. So they're like, okay, we've got to try and do something different. Keat Stars, Mirage, our second map, that stayed the same. They've kept that, despite actually losing it in the upper bracket in this tournament earlier on. But Uno Mille, instead of picking into Overpass, they picked into Dust 2, which they lost both times as that decider. And because Keat Stars had the decision to go for Overpass or Nuke, they were like, well, we probably don't want to go for the map that Uno Mille have picked into, so we're going to go for a Nuke. Are we going to hit that Nuke? Just because, look, Keat Stars beaten Uno Mille twice in a row on Dust 2. However, Uno Mille have had some decent run of form on that map in the last 3 days, in this tournament, beating Pro Hyon and Guara, and they also actually got a 13-0 over Guara in a different tournament. So hopefully, for their sake, they're seeing that good form in recent time be a difference maker as we head onto their map pick, and maybe they can get that first victory.
I'm going to start things off with a bit of space being taken in towards mid. Nothing doing just yet. I did like the more advanced position down long, just in case. Unfortunately, they've had to kind of turn tail, head back out. The flash, somehow CLD manages to dip away, trying to bait them out into the open, take these longer range engagements. Oh, CLD completely blind on the first. The follow-up is clean. A third as well. You don't want to take the long range fight against the USP. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be on the short end of that one. But 1 versus 3. Bomb lost. Gotta try for something. Great shot on the fadeaway there, but realizing there should likely be someone just behind, and still just under a minute remaining, so time not yet
Why is
a
Remix
massive
running?
factor. I'm not
What?
sure.
This
Wait,
is
why
so
is
unnecessary.
everyone making noise? Oh goodness.
But like, it's fine for Xruba because they know he's here, but Remix has just given away his position, and he knows now that theoretically he could just isolate a duel on either shore or the bomb side. Luckily for Remix's sake there, he gets that kill because he almost really threw that away. I don't know if there was like a comms issue. Did someone say that he dropped CT? I don't know, but that almost went really south for Mille.
I wonder if it wasn't actually like done on purpose, if it wasn't a thing of like, hey, it looks like he might run out and try and get the bomb, make some noise, draw his attention, buy some time, right? Because you've still got a minute left. It can go horribly wrong, but
I'd
whatever
say
the plan was, it
more
worked.
than likely it would have gone pretty wrong there.
And yet.
Well, welcome to South America.
There you go.
But Keat Stars, they're going to go onto their 4-spy. They were good on the 4-spies just today. They challenged Shinden on Dust 2, and they won 2 4-spies in that map. So hopefully for their sakes, they're still able to find that form as they take quick short control. But it's all a ruse because the majority are going to be wanting to head towards the B bomb site, splitting through mid, and Cuts just keeping them entertained on A.
Utah coming through to try and get players out of those more predictable areas, but quite a few little off angles, cheeky positions
two.
being held. Unfortunately, that pincer was just a little bit too strong. Comes down to a 2 versus 3. If a master's been recovered, now CLD challenging window with LTZ. Hand in hand, they managed to get one, but Tane doing so much to try and keep it contestable. Remix on a sliver of health, but unfortunately, it is him to get that final kill, and that defuse will come through.
Okay, a bit of a messy retake that comes down to 22 hit points in the difference, but the big difference maker in this round is Broken. Like, his anchor dies basically instantly. It's a very difficult position for him to be in, and he not only just gets a multi-kill, but he's able to get 3 kills, which is everything. Like, if he just gets 2 there, I don't think it would have been enough. So a really big round there for Broken, and holding very sturdy. But with the bomb down and 4 kills, Keydstars, they have the economy and they want to keep the pressure alive. And with the Scout and AWP clashing in mid, I think it's understandable to think which one would come out on top.
Go for a slightly slower take this time around. See if maybe you can get Mille to be a little bit more aggressive. Catch them off guard, but Mille doing well to just kind of play this patiently here. There will come a time where they have to start looking for information, but that moment, that itch in the back of the neck hasn't quite kicked off yet. A lot of utility in towards mid as well. Drawing a lot of that attention. Here comes the flank. All the way around from the double doors. Right behind. He's going to catch
That's crazy.
3 of them. There's no way. He's found the first. He's done this with an MP9 as well. He does get caught out, unfortunately. So that's a bit of a rough way for it to end. And I feel like there was a good opportunity to maybe create a pincer there. But he's done what he set out to do. Gets that first kill. Information handed over. Now, they realize it's likely to be a short take. So CLD goes for the reposition. Spots the first. And there you go. Lines it up for Remix. And Remix dunks it on in. Scout versus AWP. Who comes out on top? Apparently the M4. And that's just going to leave Cuts all alone. And he will fall very quickly thereafter. Third round for Mille.
I do love the fact that LTZ, who was on 0 kills up until this point, push long like that. It's cool just to see that players are still confident, even if they're maybe not having individually the best game.
We're 3 rounds in. We'll give it a moment. You know, maybe he's just
I mean, well, it's still very early, right? Of course. But it's things you love to see.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it certainly sets a precedent. Here we go. Precedent for the B side also very much in effect. These Tech 9s.
This is not good.
Ripping through the defensive line. And somehow, he'd come through this basically unscathed to the point where Mille aren't even willing to push. 3-person save, back away, you can have it.
Yeah, no bueno, because what makes that even worse is that this is supposed to be the round where Mille build up their economy. They were able to deal with back-to-back force buys, and then when Keydstars actually subsided, and they were like, okay, we'll take a back seat. They've only got, I think it was like a flash of smoke on 2 players, if that. They had 4 pieces of armor. Lash was saving for the AWP. And yet, all 5 players stay alive. They win the round. They find 2 A1Ss. However, 3 players saving for Mille does mean that it's not exactly all ruinous. They will still be able to buy up pretty comfortably in the following round.
Yeah, getting to that knife's edge though. A good opportunity for Keydstars to start building a bit of... Okay. I was about to say the word momentum. nasty opening shot there. Full blind. Lash put to rest. That's going to stop a lot of that early aggression. Doesn't stop it entirely though. Still willing to kind of take some space. Remix desperate for that follow-up, but not going to be handed to them. Oh my god, these off angles have just been abrasive. 2 players down. Recovery seeming rather difficult. I'm going to send 1 player slowly contacting up long. Bomb is a little bit further back, so timing is going to be an important one on this one, because even if you get all of that space and onto the site, the bomb then needs to travel over in order to be planted, and it's very easy to be caught on a cross in a situation like that. So now down to 45 seconds. Mane trying to bring the numbers to a more manageable scenario, making a bit of noise as well to pull attention. He hasn't been spotted out just yet. Yeah, I wondered if he'd push for short, but no. Gonna team up down towards long. This is the best decision, I feel like, because the site's basically been checked. They slowly creep their way forward. The reinforcements start to come in. And this is where that timing becomes ever so important. Bomb's going to get planted. Mille now to activate. Nice HE, bit of chip damage. Softens them up. Super methodical on this retake as well. They don't want to overcook this. Slowly but surely. Fane now left alone. And it's the final swing from Remix. And then it's another round. I mean, as soon as Vivo get, or rather, as soon as Keyed Stars get one, the next round it's snatched back.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually really good for the Mille side, just to make sure that they're keeping everything in check. Because the worst thing they can do is allow a round like that to really just unravel everything. And for their sake, it doesn't. And that's really very, very important. So, despite Vivo Keyed Stars having this amazing opportunity, they haven't really been able to claim it. And it actually, like, it's a bit worrying that they're starting their T side so poorly right now. And Mille have just kind of got all of this momentum and hold on the game. Double AWP as well for the C side. The CT side going into round 6 is a crazy thing to be viewing. And now the T side on the default, they've put some pressure towards the B bomb site, maybe fake to hit, and instead try to pivot towards short. They catch one of the AWPers in a pretty difficult position, but he's able to retreat, drop utility, and also just re-aggress in. This is going to be devastating, because Keyed Stars, they want to recommit towards this A-bomb site, and Remix could just put an end to it before it even gets going. That nade is going to do a lot of damage to Boat. And what is Remix? How does he play this? Getting around the smoke. It is bold, but it could be the golden ticket as the T side, they want to actually fake this presence now, head towards B, but as Remix falls, it won't allow for any rotations, and now this B bomb site has to hold once more.
Oh, this B bomb site has just been Keyed Stars' playground in so many of these rounds. Admittedly, the aggressive positioning from Remix, so after that first flash comes out, not only does he not fall off the angle, he kind of holds his ground, then when the smoke starts to come up, continues to kind of push forward. And it's not that I understand why you're doing that. It's relatively unexpected, you know, especially after that flash comes out. The expected response is that if somebody was there, they would have fallen off. Unfortunately, gets caught just on the side of the smoke and sprayed down, doesn't have an opportunity to get that opening frag, and well, that opens up a lot of space because it's drawn so much of that attention. It allows them to rotate across. Ooh, and now we're taking away the last vestiges of weaponry that were available as well. Much better round from Keyed. Can they keep doing that, right? Because that feels like the kind of round that you can't necessarily replicate.
Yeah, it's definitely a chaotic round. And I do agree of like, is that something that is possible to replicate? Yeah, the kind of chaoticness of it. Like they tried to, how many fakes did they throw in there in total? I think it was fake B to hit A, then not able to hit A, so then they faked A and went B. Yeah, you can't get away with that all too often. And they got to make sure that they have a lot more of a cleaner default. And this round, it's unfortunately didn't go great because Xrubia died early out long, but he's able to get a lot of information, and that information just sped Keystars over towards the B bomb site. That was kind of the plan, like send someone out early, get the info, and then be in a position where you can react on the other side of the map, and that's what happens.
Pretty standard kind of anti-eco. Interesting. Unfortunately, that hero AK or saved, well, recovered AK, and put it that way, not really going to have an opportunity to do anything. But let's see if they can hold on to it. Give themselves just a little bit more to work with into those following rounds. It's good to see some signs of life here from Keystars, though. Things were starting to look a little bit unfortunate. I mean, I think Lash sat with 0 kills for the longest time. Okay, he's still only on 1, but it shows progress. It shows that we're starting to wake up a little bit here. Baby steps, you know. 1 kill at a time.
That's all that you can ask for.
Yeah. 1 round away from evening out the scoreline. But, you know, Mille back in the money now.
Mille back on the money, and they're still in the lead, which is kind of the most important factor right now.
Yeah. I like that Remix tries to challenge these early positions.
Well, that's what you got to be doing as the AWPer. You can't be sitting on your laurels, especially on Dust 2. Like, got to go for these picks. And he has the safety net of that smoke on short, but it's kind of obvious that he's there with that smoke. So it's a double-edged sword, and because of that, he's not going to get offered anything. And they didn't know of his presence, though, so that's also an important factor. He's going to reposition back on this angle on short. If they don't flash him off correctly, he could be in for a treat. He actually tried to play anti-flash there, so to peek out after the flash booms, but then he hears them running and still goes, you know what, I'm going to take the fight anyways. I'd say he's pretty lucky to get away with his life there. That was a very brazen play, and in the demo review, they're going to be questioning that one.
See them spamming the smoke as well. They're not even convinced that he's run all that far away, but look at this crossfire. It's absolutely disgusting. Even with that smoke up in the sky there, you've still got the high-low that kind of creates that extra angle. It does get traded on the site itself, so Broken now repositioning over towards Car is going to lose his life. CLD brings it back, but can't do too much more. We continue to trade blows, but now it's Mille that find themselves in the driving seat, and there's that final kill to come through. Great use of the environment to keep yourself as hidden as possible, and a round that looked like it may have gone in Keystar's favor. Stolen away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know if there was ever like too much of a golden opportunity for them, just because of the opening kill and the fact that the B bomb site did hold. And this T side for Keystars, it's not looking like it has the best of ideas right now, I think, truth be told. But they do get an opening pick out long. LTZ gets caught in a position where he's not able to backtrack, and that is going to be very, very beneficial for the T side, as they can just kind of stamp on the brakes a little bit now. But they need to be careful, because the C side are also getting very active. Clone has cleared out just fully over towards that B bomb site. It's allowed maybe even just him himself. Everyone's going to be joining the fun over towards this A bomb site. If Keystars continue, they could be in for a bit of a rude awakening.
That engagement, near engagement in mid was kind of a ships in the night scenario. It was very entertaining to watch on the mini-map, but focusing to where the action is likely to start kicking off very shortly. Lash, beautiful. Oh, low and slow, catches the side of a head, and that's going to get him taking down his counterpart. 2-player advantage. Still have to make their way in on towards the site, though. The smoke gives the cover necessary. They start to force Mille back. A lot of the attention's being held in towards mid here. They realize if they get flanked on, then any opportunities slip away. But now, with an extra player going down, trying to push this is just a non-starter. It's not happening, so get the hell out of Dodge. Another round just kind of falls apart.
It's a good opening engagement that I wasn't really sure if it was going to be able to be converted just because of the proactivity from the CT side, but ultimately they get those entries on the A bomb sites, and you kind of got to commend Mille because they do make the right moves in this round, but it's just unfortunate with I guess how the cookie crumbles, and it is a good site hit. So Keydstars making sure that this is still a contestable game after, yeah, a pretty slow T-side start. Just taking a look at these previous games. Most recently, they did struggle on the T side. Oh, no, never mind. Sorry, I'm misreading things. Actually, yeah, they kind of did. They won pistol, but apart from that, they struggled on the rifles. The first time on LAN when they played, they got a 9-3 T-side half, so it was much better already for Mille. And this is not a great position for Mille to be in economically. They save 2, and they're buying around those weapons. Got the highs of the AWP, but the lows of the Deagle.
The duality of CS economy.
Is anyone holding underpass? No one's holding underpass. Bomb is in tunnels, and it's now in command of Broken.
Well, there you have it, folks. I was wondering, I was actually, like, as you started talking, I was gonna be like, I really feel like they need to get a bit more proactive with a buy like this, and exactly what starts to happen. So, love to see that. Would have been a lot more impactful if I'd said it before it actually happened, instead of after the fact, but, you know, either way.
They did get proactive with the buy. The reason why they were so quick to the punch when the ICU came in was because they had that double setup in underpass, so, like, they were in a proactive setup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it would have been punchier if I'd gotten to say they should do it before they did it, you know what I mean? And I could have been like, hey, I said it. But, you know, all good. I just want my flowers, Freddy, okay? Validate me.
They will come.
Thank you. Soon TM. Bomb's not coming. Bomb's staying exactly where it is. And that's going to be another round going in the pocket of Mille. I will say, a lot of this resurgence that we have seen from Keyd, and I use the term resurgence fairly lightly, has been on the shoulders of Tane, it feels like. It's sitting at 11-5 at the moment.
Yeah, he's had a really big game, and I think he kind of needs to in this Keydstars role, because he's come in very... He's in a roster where... Previously, this year, when they started, I would have looked to Bartam, who's played for the biggest organizations, the biggest tournaments, at the majors. He's still very young, and he lasted like a couple weeks on Keydstars. So if you're not... 3 tournaments, to be exact. 11 maps, which is bizarre. Yeah, you know, he's like... Still got it. He's still been playing at a high level, but not for Keydstars, it appears. And I think that kind of opens the vacuum slightly. The newest additions of Exrubia and Matios, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like I don't know if they really bring the firepower that they need. So Lash, obviously, with the AWP, mentioned him. Against Shinden, he was very good. It's not playing very well right now on Dust 2, which is worrying. But yeah, Tane on the rifle, a necessity. And Lash, I called upon him, and he delivers.
There you go. Reaction times really doing work in that moment. They were literally staring at each other. But yeah, unfortunately for Broken, secondary AWPer doesn't really have the opportunity to step up. The way he's been performing with the rifle though, yeah, just keep him on the rifle. Ooh, caught out in the open. So we can trade off. Both raid bosses now not available for their teams. And with 2 rounds remaining in this half, things start to become that much more important. Pressure starts to build for these final rounds. Let's see if they check LTZ. Surely they should. They absolutely do. Double swing is devastating. Bomb to be planted. 2 players remain now and very far removed from one another, unfortunately. So it's going to be really difficult to get any sort of an advantageous position if that's what you were going to go for. But once again, realizing probably not the play. Just back away. Lead up to 5. 1 round remains and, well, it looks like we could be getting an even half.
I definitely feel like with how this half has gone, and it's looked very dominant for Uno Mille, and especially with just the opening, like, Force Buy's not working for Keyed Stars. They've never had a foothold on this T side, so getting it this close, it's just going to give them room to breathe as they go onto their defense and can just take that moment of respite and refresh themselves. Because they just haven't, they haven't had anything consistent this half. And then for Uno Mille on the other side, it's just like super disappointing. You know, rounds like this, the A bomb site has faltered multiple times, even when there were numbers there. And for Uno Mille, shockingly enough, still have that buy back in. Only 2 saved, but they're going to have a pretty nifty purchase. And Tane out long. Ooh, he's committing, and he's taking all of that space.
This time, Lash's reaction time not quite as crisp as we would have liked. Didn't even go for the shots there, but it can be difficult. So, no early numbers advantage here. That's okay. Uno Mille is still able to scrape something together for this round. You have to be so much more specific about how they use that utility. There we go. Nice early trade-off. ELD looking to take this space as well. With the resmoke, surely that should be somewhat expected. Literally just going for the gun. Fair enough.
Yeah, Coots is going to throw Xbox smoke, and then they're either going to flash through this, or Lash is going to try contact his way out. It looks like it's going to be that latter. They know CLD was somewhere here. Process of elimination, and Matios just wipes him out. Remix on the bomb site. He's able to find 1 head, but a second for Matios in this round. And the bomb site is secured. Is there a gap in that smoke? Nah, it's all good. Final round of the half, a 3v2 post plant. There's no kit for Clone and Broken, and this B bomb site duo, it has its highs and it has its lows when it comes to Clone on 1 kill.
It was funny, you said process of elimination. That really did seem like the correct phrase. It was a process of elimination. And there goes another one.
Good comms.
Clone alone gets 1, but not good for too much more. There's that evened out half between these 2 teams.
It's neck and neck at the half in this opening match. Dust 2 was always going to be a interesting pick from Uno Mille, as it's been the decider in the both times these two teams have played up against each other, and in both of those occasions, Keedstars ended up running away with the victory. Uno Mille came out swinging though. They actually had some really solid early rounds, but they couldn't build upon that success. So with that in mind, I feel like Keedstars kind of have this momentum now going on to their defense, and especially with those final few rounds just very dominantly going in their favor. I can probably start to already chalking up a map victory for Keedstars, and then going on to Mirage. Well, it's their map pick. They're the favorites.
Yes. We'll see if it actually does end up going that way for them. Yeah, there's always the possibility things are just going to kind of fall apart. I will also say, like, so Keed, I think a lot of the trouble at the start was, you know, obviously they forced in the second round, and that always causes a little bit of weirdness. And then the round that they won was a Tech 9 round, and that's where you start to, because then the next round they have a rifle round, and they lose that. And that's where you kind of start questioning, all right, guys, what on earth is happening here? But just in the nick of time, they did start to figure things out a bit more and stabilize. So even out scoreline, not the worst situation to be in. Move into the second half now as Keed look to line up a strong CT half. Uno Mille, low and slow. Always amazes me when I see players with this much patience. It's a necessity, but how often have you not seen players just get so antsy, not willing to run down a clock?
I'd be worried if they don't have the patience, to be honest.
Well, I mean, those are the ones that never get very far, right? But they certainly exist.
Yeah. In the old face it stacks.
Yeah.
What's this going to be? Fake B? LTZ was holding for the door smoke, never throws it, and instead is going to be throwing the cross smoke from doors, and Coots just gets annihilated. Lash gets spotted in pits. Clone has a Molo and Flash in tunnels. What's he going to do with this? He has heard the footsteps thundering around in middle. He's going to see one from behind. He's going to hear a second. I think he should know that all three players are there, but he doesn't by the fact that LTZ is still holding towards behind. But Clone, he's got the backstab. He's had a pretty rough game, but this is an easy lineup. He only finds 2 kills, doubles his kills in the game, but to be honest, 1 would have been enough. And Tane maybe even just tries to save the Team Molo now. Kit, flash, and armor as well. Would you look at that? He's rich.
If he can survive. Should be able to. Early for hunting. But, yeah, interesting round. I mean, kind of mentioned the low and slow of it. And, I don't know. Might have been one of those situations where they had an original plan and somebody just went, hang on, guys. Let me cook. And they kind of swap up.
Something definitely changed.
Yeah. Whatever the plan changed from, I think the new plan was a pretty good one. So
yeah, they just kind of hit the shots really.
Yeah.
And then the flank probably couldn't have been any better. That's the second pistol round going in favor of Uno Mille. You win both pistols on your map pick, you almost start to think they have to be winning the game. But this force up. Always can be difficult. Vu is just, he's stealing what I was saying back in 2017.
I don't know. I first heard him say it a few years ago, but I, you know, as you know, I've not been around for quite as long as many of my peers, so I don't have all the lore, the history.
I don't think it's really history or lore. It's just, if you win both pistols, you should probably win the game.
Probably. But invariably, it often does not actually go that way. Let's see if it's the case this time around. We pivot over towards a pretty empty B bomb site.
They are clearing out mid though, and rotation's going to be coming in. Matios is here with a Molo. He needs to dump this in to just block them. Ooh, that Molo, unfortunately though, is going to burn cut. Broken, stuck between the ferns. Bomb dropped, bomb committed. 3 players now coming onto the B bomb site from CT. Some really nice and tasty shots have to be hit, and some shots do get hit, but they're not clean nor tasty. Xrubia is now set up into a 1v2. Both players are tagged. Receptible to a deagle shot to the body, but a Galil shot to the head will do just fine.
Got a little bit scary there towards the middle. That second molly just... Oh, that nearly completely ruined everything because it gave so much time for those rotations to start coming through. And so by the time they actually start making their way in onto the site, basically the entirety of Keyed Stars is there. Luckily, a bit of an anti-eco scenario, so what you gonna do?
They had the full. It was a full force buy.
Yeah, but it was upgraded pistols and one from us. Is kind of what I'm going with here. Like, it was a force, but it wasn't like they had rifles, you know?
Yeah, but it's just not an anti-eco.
Anti-pots and pans? Doesn't quite have the same ring to it. Although, maybe I should make it a thing. Sure, why not? Round number 3 now. And unfortunately, this time it will just be pistols. Questionable, but there you go. Trade-off. No big issue here. I say that. I mean, these pistols are actually doing a lot more, I think, than Mille would realistically be comfortable with. This is forcing them to have to keep reinvesting. And, I mean, as long as they keep winning rounds, it's not the biggest issue in the world, but they definitely don't want these rounds to be going quite this close.
Three staying alive there, fine, to just stabilize the economy. This is the big round, though. A 3-round lead for Mille on their map pick. They struggled when it came to this stage of the first half. Relying on gimmicks more than anything. Ooh, it's going to be a peek. Okay, I thought Lash was set up to try and duel the remix there, but decides better of it. He has... Ooh, this is interesting. So Tane is just throwing Util in the mid doors to keep them like kind of aware of that position. And in the meantime, it's Rubia and Lash. They're getting aggressive towards tunnels. They spot everything out. They see it's completely clear. Lash is posted on a deep angle, and it's going to allow for Xrubia to rotate, hold towards mid, and that allows Tane to then anchor down the A-bomb site alongside Cuts. So they've established a bit more of a foothold in that part of the map, and it could just get stronger if Lash hits that shot, but because he misses, now Xrubia can't be so committed towards mid. But in the meantime, Matios towards long is able to spot out too. And Coots in pits, they might not expect this.
Managed to sneak his way down there. Dodging out a lot of utility here. No one really checking for him. Oh, this is such a big opportunity. Finds the first, looking for that second player. There he is. Lines it up, gets that first shot. Can't quite follow up onto the AWP. And while that's happening, CLD takes down one of his teammates, but there is a bit of follow-up. So now, while he entertains LTZ, the last remaining player is making his way up short, and with the bomb already lost down long for the longest time, Clone doesn't really have too much more that he can do in this round. And he's going to be forced to at least try to back away. Lash not given the opportunity to find that shot. And there it is. A couple of rounds run the way of Mille, but Keyed Stars are able to battle back.
I got close. Coots and Pit, I was not a believer, not gonna lie. It's very Coots-esque. I feel like come to learn that about him. But it's a really good play from him. Amazing decision making. And in general, good dynamism from Keedstars in the first gun round. They know they can't just sit there and let Mille play their game. They had to get aggressive. They had to do something a little bit more assertive. They do that, and they come away with a round win, plus keeping the majority alive. It's good for the economy. And Mille, I mean, look, it probably would have been a round one if they just had either cleared Cuts or Cuts just wasn't there.
And of course, with how close so many of those rounds had gone, which I think was a large part of a lot of the, aggression that we'd seen coming from Keedstars, means that now Mille still okay, but not as robust as maybe they would have liked. Good opportunity here for Keedstars to bring that deficit down to only 1. I mean, if they win this round, they should be looking at an evened out score line. So we get that first trade down in underpass, the Molotov to follow to dissuade anyone trying to follow up there. Somehow, Lash is able to slip through that smoke to safety. Thanking his lucky Keedstars. Now we slow down again. First plan goes a little awry. Cut noise. They've managed to bait out the vast majority of Keedstars' utility. So there's a strong opportunity here for them if they make the right call. And it looks like we're going to start moving over towards that A site. This could be very scary.
It's a well-defended A-bomb site.
Ooh. That nade had just gone a little bit deeper.
Two players here. Lash towards long. It's whether does LTZ try get some sort of jump, because he needs to shoot this AWPer in the back of the head.
Utility starts to come through. Unfortunately, Coots gets caught out by it. Lash misses his shot. He gets run over. Matios is good for 1, but that's going to leave Zereba all alone on the other side of the map. There is
I did not expect
no
Broken
world
to do that.
There it is. A really, unfortunate reversal of fates. This was meant to be Keed bringing the deficit to 1, breaking the economy, getting up to that evened out scoreline, and it just crumbles.
It's just amazing from Broken. Jumps in towards CT. They don't expect him to be there. The AWPer gets caught out in the open because Cuts dies so early. Cuts just can't die there on ramp. He needs to stay alive and be able to support Lash. So Lash just gets caught in two minds. Does he shoot the players on short, or does he shoot the player running at him on CT? And then Matios is left with an unwinnable task. Would have wanted as well Lash to be a little bit closer with his teammate there in underpass. Feels like Tane, after he got that first kill, just had no support. Like, the flashbang fully blinded Lash. And he just kind of allowed for his teammate to get traded out. A very simple round, 1 out by the T side. And now the tables have turned, but it's not a full investment for Keedstars. They're not putting everything into this round. It's actually going to be, all things considered, just a low buy around this saved A1S of Xrubia. They're going to try and get aggressive with it, but unfortunately their aggression has been thwarted, and the T side should be going to an 11th.
That's a really unfortunate position for Keedstars to be in. 2 rounds away are Mille at the end of this from kind of closing this out. And that's exactly what they were hoping for here. Finally kind of getting that revenge against Keedstars after 2 less than stellar performances. Keed, I mean, they've kind of stamped their claim on this map time and again. See if they can Gonna pull themselves towards themselves a little bit here. It's not over just yet. Still a lot of opportunities to maybe turn things back around. Caught out a little bit too far forward there. They're gonna try and do some damage here if they can, but there's so many spots to check. And Lash now will just have to hold on to the orb. Not been having the best showing with the orb either, unfortunately.
No, he's had, I mean, that last round's a great example of it, of just being in the right position, but not able to execute his orders accordingly. The orb being saved, though, for him is a biggie. Being able to snatch it out of Remix's hands. He would have had an orb, but now he's able to drop over a rifle if needs be, and just all things considered, his team are going to have a full purchase with all the bells and whistles. So it is vital that they set themselves up for victory in the best way possible, as there's no room for error. Well, I guess there kind of is, but if they want to end it in regulation, there's no room for error. 6 rounds in a row, it would need to be for them to close it out in reg. 5 to secure the safety net of overtime. And Mille in the driving seats now, looking to close out their map pick and finally win out Dust 2 against what could just be their arch nemesis.
Nemesis. Oh, sorry. I struggled to turn that off. Nemai. You know what? I like that. I vibe with it. Ooh, damn. Okay. Turns out pushing a smoke, dangerous. First kill goes in favor of Keed Stars. They now have a lot of control towards that extremity. And of course that the smoke in the way, they don't know if there's anyone else kind of lurking behind, but a lot of noise has been made over towards this B-bomb site, so there's that suspicion. Leaving mid relatively open now as the push does start to come through. Not even really a push, just kind of peeking out, looking for information, and unfortunately getting your head blown off while it's happening. It doesn't help that this is a basically 3-player strong site as well, so every time Mille try to find some sort of a vantage point, it's taken away. They've now lost control of the bomb and are not even willing to attempt it. With less than 20 seconds remaining, there's no point, and Keed will find their 8.
Okay, so there is some life left in the old dog. And Tane, who you rightfully mentioned, was a big part of the T side when they started getting those rounds together. A B execute that just never really got the ball rolling. 3 players on the B bomb side. Keed Stars made the right read, and despite that, and despite actually it just being a completely flawless round, they are going to be taking a timeout. It's intriguing to see this of all times be when they take that pause, not when they were losing, but instead when they were winning. And this is a very important round. So I guess every single round's important, but this is the one that could break the camel's back. It'll get them to 9, but also an easy 10th up against the Eco. And then boom, they're right back in contention. Whereas Mille still, for me, hold the keys to victory.
It's always interesting to me when teams don't take those pauses. I mean, even when a team doesn't have a coach, you know, it's like, you get 3 of them, you may as well take them. But, at least we finally do see it happen. I believe Mille have actually taken 2, definitely 1, I think 2. So, trying to put that to good use as far as possible. And during that pause, they also would have had an opportunity to chat a little bit, so I love thinking about the team that didn't call the pause. Because there's a moment of trying to be like, what are they potentially going to adapt that we need to be aware of to try to stop? It's one of the things that keeps me up at night. Mid smoke.
This is looking like it's fast from Mille. They just want to go straight in towards a mid to B. Or at least take this space, but they missed their smoke. So what do they do now? There's a single smoke left on CLD, and he's been sent to try and land it this time. Okay, this one lands, and they're still going to commit to this mid to B. Cuts has a nice angle over the box. LTZ expects it, though. That's an opening kill that could unravel this round. Exrubia and Tane on the bomb site, and Tane gets owned. He gets drive-byed, and I can't believe that round works through just sheer brawn.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of those shots, look, a lot of the positions that you see Keystars in are with purpose, you know? A lot of like potential cover to try and soak some of the bullets, to try and kind of knock your aim off a little bit. But the shots coming from Mille are so clean and so crisp and so just perfectly aligned that none of that even helps. They're still pushing for this. That's okay. Trying to do a bit of damage here. Damage is done, but I mean, there's no universe, right? Ah.
Wow, that was close.
That was...
Jesus. Lash had milliseconds on that defuse. Picks up the kit as well as he was running towards the bomb. Damn, that was unlucky. But it would have been made a whole lot easier if this B bomb site had, you know, gotten more than one kill. So unfortunate for Lash. He does everything and more, but it's all in vain. And Mille, they now have 4 opportunities to close out their map pick and go 1-0 up in the series. And in this elimination game, the lower bracket semi-final of the ESL Challenger League, South America Cup 2.
Once more for all the marbles. Oh, CLD caught out. Great control here from Tane. The fact that he gets a second is a little bit unreasonable. But it might just be the stay of execution that Keedstar need now. Keep that ball rolling just a little bit longer. Mille will have to kind of slow things down a little bit, rethink their approach. They still have a lot of options available to them. They've got presence towards all of the extremities, so they can kind of find that early information and then start to pivot. We've also got just under a minute remaining, so once again, time not yet a huge factor. Always going to be a factor, but a little bit of wiggle room here. Smoke on B to stem, or hopefully stem, aggression. With the smoke in mid, trying to hide their intentions somewhat. Matias seems certainly ready for it. The first player swings around the corner, so he's going to calm that over. Ooh, timing on that, very unfortunate. And so Matias will fall by the wayside. Lash, who reposition now, very likely the next domino to fall, pushes into the smoke. That was so dangerous, but somehow manages to survive just a little bit longer. Zureba actually gets shot while trying to stop the bomb from being planted. Last 2 players remaining now. This retake seems nigh on impossible, but Coots brings it down to 2 versus 2. Remix, a feather would knock him over at this point, and oh, they're not checking for the car position. Clone finds that shot. Lash misses the AWP shot, pulls out the deagle, just juggling weaponry at this point to try and find something to do, something to get done. But as that bomb continues to tick down, Clone not going to allow this to be a defuse, and there it is. They buy themselves all the time they need. The happy feet go so hard, and it's a 13-8 victory. The redemption arc completed. Well, started for Mille.
That's got to be one of the worst rounds of Counter-Strike I've seen in a while, and that's saying something. a 5v3, I think it was, at its peak, and then Lash as well in that 3v3. It's just abysmal work from him. Even with the grenade onto the bomb site as the bomb's being planted, he completely misses it, and that jumping Cookly denial or attempt denial of the bomb would have succeeded if the nade had landed. It's a very menial nade to hit, and somehow he still messes it up. An awful round for Lash. Really just actually kind of insane work how bad that was. And Keystars, for the third time, after winning Dust 2 twice against Uno Mille, they falter. They go 0-1 in the series, and you best hope they're able to step up on their map pick of Mirage, or they will be eliminated from the ESL Challenger League Season 51 South America Cup 2.
The first map ends much the way it began, rather tumultuous for the Key Stars squad. Unfortunately, not able to make it a third win against Mille, but for Mille, they'll be feeling really, really good off the back of that one. Finally starting that revenge arc against a team that has kind of come up the better in the last couple of times that they've met up against one another. We move over to now map number 2. This is Keedstar's map pick though. So are we thinking maybe this could be a different scenario, or is the kind of what we saw on that previous map a little bit of a concern?
Yeah, that last map ended like super brutally for the Keedstar side, because they came back onto the T side and they looked like they were the stronger side. But in general, I think the sentiment that I said for their attack goes for just the whole game of like they never had a foothold, they never had any consistency. They were never able to get the ball rolling. They were always losing the really important rounds. So going on to a Mirage now. Okay, it is their map pick, and last time, the issue was, last time, when they played out, Mille won Mirage 13-10, and just a great game from LTZ, and I'm a little bit worried. I don't think this game is as much a sure foot in for Keedstars than I maybe previously anticipated when I looked at this veto, and I can seriously expect if the likes of Broken is able to put up the same level he did, and if Remix is not going to get challenged by Lash in any way on the AWP, then Mirage, it's going to be difficult for Keedstars.
It certainly did feel like a couple of players, honestly on both teams, could have stepped up a little bit more on that first map, but Mille just looked that little bit more put together. But how often doesn't it happen that we see a player kind of not load in the first map, and then map 2 comes along and it's just this, I don't know, somebody switched a light on and it's an absolute like blowout performance. So we'll see how things shape up once the map actually does begin, and you got to think there's a certain amount of confidence coming into it just because it is their map pick, their kind of home turf, so to speak. Yeah, it's going to be tough to call, I feel like. I'm wondering if we're going to see, because, you know, this was something we'd seen yesterday in Europe. Funnily enough, our maps were reversed. We started on Mirage and kind of mentioning, you know, oh, sorry, no, it was Nuke first map. And kind of mentioning like, okay, AWPers haven't really had an opportunity, one of the AWPers hadn't really had an opportunity to kind of show what they were capable of, get onto Mirage, and things start, or rather on Dust 2, and things are like night and day. But now with having started on Dust 2 and Lash just wasn't activated, I don't know. I mean, Mirage, it's not like it's a bad AWPing map. I don't think there's many bad AWPing maps, but if you couldn't do it on Dust 2, you know, realistically, what are the odds?
I mean, it's still a good AWPing map. Yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah.
What to respond to that. Like, it is a good AWP map. You kind of need, especially on the defense, like if you don't have an AWP playing in the roles that he does and taking the space that he does, then like you're gonna lose. It's very imperative that an AWP does well on the CT side, and sure, he didn't do too well on Dust 2, our good old boy Lash. That doesn't inherently mean that he's going to be bad on Mirage. Still have belief. He didn't play too great on Mirage last time. He did very averagely. Actually, no, 20 and 14, just very low round swing. So I think, yeah, this game's going to definitely come down to the AWPers stepping up. And right now, Mille would have their sights set on a very tasty 2-0 if they do achieve that victory, they're going to go into the lower bracket finals. So only 3 steps away now for Mille from making it through to the regional finals after they got put down into the lower bracket round 1 by Keatstars. They'd be getting the ultimate redemption arc. The what was it? The vengeance is a best dish served cold. They'd be knocking Keatstars out of the tournament, where this organization would expect that maybe in a tournament like this, without some of the bigger names, that they would be able to progress through. They got outclassed by Shinden yesterday, and now by a team that they normally beat. It might just happen again.
As mentioned, right, like this cup is kind of where teams might have some of their best opportunities, with a lot of the heavy hitters not being here, not participating. And I mentioned, you know, Vivo unfortunately didn't really have much of a bracket in the previous cup just because of, you know, a few conflicts that ended up happening. So it would be a devastating way for that to finish itself out. So hopefully we can see them bounce back a little bit here. I'm not anti a third map. I think, you know, these teams definitely deserve the opportunity to show what they're capable of. We should be jumping into the map any moment now, folks. Apologies for that delay. Just making sure that all the players are ready and raring to go. Alright, we're going to be diving in just a moment, so thank you for bearing with. If you had to hazard a guess, a bold prediction, Freddy, do you think that Vivo can pull this map out of the hat?
I mean, Keatstars, they would like to think so themselves due to it just being their map pick. Yeah. And they've played twice against Mille. They won once, lost once. So through process of elimination, they won the first time, lost second time, win the third time. That's how it works, right? But I think just in general, they need to buck up their ideas, because that was a very disappointing Dust 2. They just didn't win any of those crucial rounds, and this has to be a moment where Lash comes alive. So as we head into the pistol round, they will be on the T side, and they're going to go straight for an A execute on the pistol round. But Clone, he's ready for this. Jules in Palace spots one out. He's got CLD under balcony. He's got rotations, but he doesn't need any support. He's going to do it all by himself. 2 kills, drops the bomb, and the advantage is going to stay remaining in favor of Keatstars. But the bomb going down, it is a positive for the next round, but can they convert it to a round win in itself?
Oh, well, we've lost the advantage, so it brings it down to 2 versus 2, but Remix is going to do his damnedest to keep that rolling over. Now, Yuriba only has to buy time, does that, gets the final kill as well. So, final nail in the coffin, a 4K round for him, and that secures them that first pistol. Man is back with a vengeance.
Ah, it's a crazy 1v2 right there. Like, the fact he's able to isolate the angles, I was kind of watching that thinking, I can definitely see Remix and Broken being kind of cut in the middle as they're playing very separated. He takes just the initiative, he knows he has to take the fight, and that's exactly what he does. He swings on to Remix, clean headshots from him, and Keatstars, after a very tumultuous beginning, losing the opening 2 kills in Palace, they ultimately come through with the victory.
Tumultuous
that was
does
a
seem
lovely
to
clutch.
Be, yeah. But tumultuous is kind of the word of the day, it seems, for Keatstars. Maybe they can find a little bit of stability on this map. Gamble stack on A, but the bomb is heading towards B. So this should be a pretty free and easy round for them. Brings them up to 2. Quick as you like. No crazy forces either. Mille playing this a lot more kind of safe and reserved. I respect that. The next round is where things could start to turn on their head a little bit. A little bit of cash farmed up here as well. For both sides. Fair enough. Oh, Lash. He watched his teammate and just said, anything you can do, I can do better.
It is good economy. I'm surprised Lash doesn't buy an AWP up in the first gun round. $600 a pop on those MAC-10s. 2 kills is always going to be nice though for the for the USPs. they're going to welcome that damage. Mac 10 being held for cuts and no AWP being saved means that I think we're going to go for a faster play. Missed insta top mid smoke, and they're still going to commit with the play. Cuts is going to get down into the floor of mid, while in the meantime an A execute comes through. They get the opening kill on CLD, but Remix with no utility to pin him down. It's really simple. It's just clay pigeon shooting for him. No one's even remotely contesting him. It's nice shots, but it's child's play.
Yeah, but, I mean, it doesn't help that there was full isolation on each individual player as well. Just kind of picks them off. There's the first one. Oh, sorry, that was the second one. Third one as well. I mean, that player was kind of on an island, so you just have to hit the shot, which is exactly what he does. Very quickly. That's a little bit of a worrying sign, however, for Keyed Stars. You know, you really want to turn these first couple of rounds into a bit more momentum if you can, and unfortunately that has kind of been stopped in its tracks. Lash will get an opening frag, however, but aggression from CLD brings it back to even Stevens. Going to 3 versus 3, and that should be pretty obvious where the last remaining vestiges of Keyed Stars are. Well, most of them anyway. No idea on the Palace player just yet. So now it becomes the guessing game. They've cleared out mid, so they know no one's pushing through that way. It's not going to be any sort of a split. They don't really have too much information on either of these extremities, so we lay down utility just to slow things down, just in case. Not willing to get too aggressive unnecessarily. Remix has been so good at holding this position so far. Looking for the oh, unscopes at just the wrong time. Dear Lord, but somehow manages to survive. The HE bounces back and kills him. Oh my god. That's the worst possible thing that could have happened. And that's the save call.
Oh.
Oh man, you're gonna laugh or you're gonna cry, I swear.
The fall from grace. The fall from grace.
Yo, that's rough.
Oh, it's a hard day in the office.
It's not funny, but it's so funny.
Oh, and also, okay, Tane is going to save the AWP. Lash died while saving, and Xrubia had thrown away the AWP out the map, so I thought that they wouldn't actually have an AWP. Yeah, no, so Matios dies. That's crazy.
Oh, production.
So, Xrubia then throws away the AWP, and then Matios dies as saving, and I thought they were going to lose the AWP, but yeah, production does Remix dirty there. I mean, he kills himself, so he does himself pretty dirty there. That's crazy work from him. Okay, Keyed Stars get a third, I suppose.
That's one way to do it, yep. Okay. Refocus. Realign. A little bit more proactive with our map control here. Have a lot to try and make up for in this round. And of course, Remix not going to have the AWP in this one, so slightly harder mode.
Very bad util for Uno Mille. They can't contest anything that's happening towards middle, so they're just going to have to gamble stack onto a bomb site, and they choose B. That could be the right play. Coots is in apps, and they're running up short. There's 3 defenders here. Remix takes the first contact towards bench. Broken in apartments, and there's also the 3rd layer of a boosted teammate, but that boosted teammate isn't even really needed. LTZ, he just watches his teammates succeed around him, and Broken gets 2 from apartments. before he falls. Matthias on the lurk, just wondering where it all went so wrong.
Remix spotting out 3 players there. I mean, the timing on that was brilliant. He's able to kind of dip away. He can call that across. Broken's able to get the kill up towards apartments. And the 2 players that are actually on the site are now aware that they're being advanced on. And Lash is unlikely to be getting up close and personal because he's got the AWP. So he's relying a little bit more. He's trying to provide support from further back. But his teammates just kind of drop around him. So there's really not much more that he can do in that round. And probably worth pointing out that he has indeed stepped up a lot more on this map. But fortunately, the inconsistencies of the team. We're playing musical inconsistency at this point. We'll see if they can stabilize a little bit. I mean, they started off the previous map a little bit rusty, and it ended up on an even kilter, so a few more rounds to try and iron out the kinks.
This is
We're
fast.
going to... Yep, very fast force coming out, not clearing out the site as well as they could be, but, you know, it is what it is. Spray downs, bomb is lost on the site. Lash with Galil in hand, looking for an opportunity. Coots gets caught out. And Lash is quick to follow. 3-3.
Yeah, very, very simple site hold there. Just no semblance of entry pathing. A missed stairs smoke in sandwich. The entries just go into the sandwich smoke, and it's super easy for Clone there. Like, no one's putting any real pressure upon him. They just take individual fights. He's not mollowed out, for instance, and it's just kind of too easy on the defense from there. And that was a force buy for Keyed Stars. They put everything and more into that round. So now it's just going to be the full eco. And despite a crazy clutch from Exubia in the pistol round, and to get them to this stage, it looks like Mille should be taking the lead. Just want to be denying the bomb being planted, and the nades are landing and flying everywhere. 2 nade kills in this round, and as Lash is last alive, hoping to get a bit of damage, because so far no one has fallen, but that would be a nice shot onto his AWPing adversary. But I think that might be all he is going to be bargaining for.
You would be correct. The sheer number of multi-kills that we've been seeing, and by multi I'm generally talking like 3+, been pretty impressive, but I feel like there's maybe an over-reliance on heroic moments. Or at least that can become a consideration. I think for now maybe it's not the biggest issue. It just goes to show that these players are capable of, you know, high-impact pop-off moments, but certainly something to keep a weather eye on. Mille is starting to make up for past mistakes as they find themselves in the lead now and looking to extend that. This is not the greatest buy of all time for Keyed Stars. Certainly serviceable, but let's see if they can make some magic happen with it. Remix misses that shot, so Arne grateful for another opportunity to fight. Mid this time is very much under lock and key from Mille. Not going to be giving up that space too easily this time around. However, Boots has found himself quite deep in position here, has cleared it out, so looks like they can go for that pincer towards the A side, especially now with that smoke up on short. Doesn't make much sense to try and press towards the B-bomb site, unless they just wait for the smoke to clear. There's time for it. Just under a minute remaining. Bomb hasn't committed just yet. Now, short Molotov means we are going to push. Clone, however, is also pushing and finds that first kill in the smoke. Somehow manages to find a second. Tane must have known he was there, but unfortunately, timings and positioning just not quite on their side. Thankfully, Lash and Matthias able to do a little bit more to make it somewhat contestable. But have left Lash alone in a 1 versus 3, and he gets murdered in the murder hole. Up to 5 now, go Mille.
It seems very puggy from the City side how they're playing. Like, you see Remix mollowing top boxes, which obviously will force someone out, and there's 2 players in connector not holding for it, and then Remix is like swinging off his own Molotov. And even with just like how this A bomb site hold gets played, it's just someone taking a solo duel and Keydstars not being ready for it whatsoever. They seem very set PC from spawn, Keydstars. This is the second time that they've just kind of run onto a bomb site from middle without doing any of their due diligence, and coming out worse for wear because of it. And this puggy style from Mille, it's not completely cohesive, but they're getting away with it, mostly just because of individuals right now. And it's back down to the Tech-9s, back down to the half purchase for the T side. And I wonder if they're going to be able to get any breaks on this first half, because right now it just doesn't seem like it.
We saw a pretty solid Tech-9 round from them on the previous map, so totally capable of it. Looked like they might have been even angling for a little bit of aggression. Oh my god, they're just walking straight out of the palace smoke. That's unfortunate. Okay. You know what? I thought maybe running distraction over towards B might have done something, and certainly they were thinking the same, but not to be the case. And yeah, that's a 6th round. 3 rounds now remain in this half, and aside from the pistol, the conversion, and the unfortunate flub from Mille in one of the follow-up rounds, it hasn't looked very cohesive from Keydstars.
I don't hate a Palace popping around like this, because the AWPer has been playing towards CT, and a good way to catch off the AWPer is try a Palace pop with the Tech-9s and just take space towards CT, catch Remix off guard. But instead, they just kind of send 2 walking through a smoke and then they get shot inside the head. I don't know. It's not looking too great for Keydstars. It's their map pick, and I'm kind of struggling to see why right now. Out mid we go once again for the T side. And Exrubia's got to be careful, because Remix is currently posted deep Palace. And if Exubia makes one wrong step, he will fall. The aggression's going to come in. Clone's actually going to come and join Exrubia. And they're just going to spot him out, smoke him off, and then turn their attention back towards middle, where the T side are currently just kind of sitting there.
These slower takes have certainly worked out for them. Don't need to go overly aggressive unnecessarily.
Well, the issue is right now, they just haven't done anything to force off LTZ towards short, for instance. CLD can fight from window, and Remix could also fight from CT, but he's going to get picked off, and LTZ has walked away from short.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do anything if they do it themselves, but Bam through the smoke gets a kill, and Clone's advanced position allows him to get one on the follow-up, but trades do follow through, which makes things a little bit less than ideal. A bomb has been planted.
They know one sandwich
out there. That's unfortunate, and yes, they know exactly where he is. Somehow Matios wins that fight, but the swing is perfect, and LTZ makes it a 2nd. That must have been a kind of insane adjustment. But hey, there you go. 7th round again. I mean, Keydstars just, whether it's a post plant or an exec or just, they just look lost in so many of their attempts.
Yeah, I mean, that post plant just never really is able to set up because of how much pressure Keydstars were put under. And you can just see how confident Mille are, because they're just simply taking those duels. LTZ makes amends for his poor read in the previous round, thinking that it maybe was just going to be a sight hit. So he falls back towards Pillar, and it's going to be on the quick rotation nonetheless. And there was a pretty nutty spray transfer. So it's to 7 for Mille. And Keydstars, they just look so unenergetic. Not energetic, unenergetic. What's the like unenergetic? Is that?
I don't
Doesn't sound
there's
right.
a different word, you know, like
Not
lethargic.
energetic. Yeah, just like synonym.
Yeah.
I like the word energetic though. They're not playing with passion. They're not playing with enthusiasm. Oh, and Tane's just missed the mollo and mollowed himself in top mid. Things really are just going great. They're just going great for Keystars right now. And Remix just has all of mid control for free. And on top of that, Clone has just pushed ramp, killed Lash. So this attempt at an A execute, they can't even make it work before it even attempts to get started.
For those that don't know, Freddy is like the ultimate disappointed dad. It's one of the things I enjoy most about casting
I think,
with him.
to be fair though, like you know, I wouldn't larp on if they miss like something that's quite difficult. But when it's like window smoke or like you've mollowed yourself top mid, it's like that's like I'd flame my face at teammates for that, you know?
You say that like that's a particularly high bar for anyone. Basically,
Like, I don't
get
really-
blamed for existing.
I just don't even know how Tane's done that. Like, is he trying to mollow Con and just like, how'd you even mollow your, how'd you miss that?
Can we take a moment to appreciate, and I use the term appreciate lightly. Cuts has no kills.
Yeah, it's a very
Tane's
normal
on
cuts,
3.
very average
Broken's on
cuts
2.
game.
But like, it's kind of, there's quite a few players. Like, I was kind of making the point about heroics earlier and how it's not necessarily a bad thing, but then I take a look at the statistics here and it clearly does feel like invariably someone has to be that hero.
Una Mille are just so confident right now because not only is like no space being taken off them, but they're just not losing any duels. Like Keystars just aren't getting kills and they're not doing anything inventive. They're just playing like a really just bad T side. Like even in this round, they throw all of their utility to try fake that they're going fast towards B, and then they don't even really get mid control. Like they're throwing their second set of utility now. That's gonna take up everything but 2 flashes. And I don't really know what the point is. Like, or they're not gonna smoke anything, and they're just gonna try and okay, no, they will smoke top con and window, but Matios needs to be very careful here and connected. They're actually gonna. Oh my god, the timing.
Oh my god.
They all walk past each other. LTZ is gonna get backstabbed by Matty. What is going on?
Oh, he's picked up a second as well. Slips through the murder hole. So he's going to be able to get in behind Broken surely now. Okay, there you go. Shots ringing out. He's got to be aware of it. There you go. Turns around. Takes him down. Remix is going to follow it up. And Broken's just going to continue being a stalwart here on the site. So Lash is all alone despite all of the work that's been done by his teammates. Unfortunately, nothing more to be done in the round. 9-3 is where we finish our half, and Keystars have a Herculean task ahead of them in the second.
I'd be lying to you if I said I understood why Keydstars picked into this map. They're not exactly playing amazing right now on Mirage. If I'm not mistaken, Cuts comes out of it 0-12 as well. He might have actually got a kill in that final round, but I don't actually remember. Regardless, that would have been still only a kill. And they get only 3 rounds. All of them coming from the first 4 rounds. They won the pistol, conversion, lost first gun round, won second gun round, and that was it. It was a super just riddled T-side, like really unimaginative and just not very good. On top of that, Mille were on fire individually, and they were just making the right plays. A lot of unforced errors from the Keystar side, and now they've got a mountain to climb on their defense.
When you consider that this should, quote-unquote, have been a 10-2 half, had the, shenanigan with the HE not happened, I mean, realistically, the only rounds that he'd won on their own merit was pistol and conversion.
And that was a clutch as well from Exubia.
Yeah. I mean,
and
so
the
that just kind
conversion
of
was an
adds
eco.
adds to the narrative, right? Well, bomb has been planted now. That's unfortunate. Stuck in a corner. Now it has to be all 4 pushing their way up the ramp position. And unfortunately, just... Oh, there we go. They do actually manage to pick up 2 kills. Tane in the reload and gets knifed in the face by a flying LTZ.
Okay. Cut's still on 0 kills.
I don't think I've actually seen... I've certainly never casted, but I don't think I've ever seen a game where somebody ends with 0 kills.
I've seen a lot of 1 kills.
Yes. Garrigan did that once.
Probably more than once.
Probably.
It almost feels impossible to just not get 1.
And yet...
Can we get a damage check actually? Like a little ADR check would be funny as well, just to really see like where we're at right now. But this is a cool T-side round. What they're basically doing is they're using CLD as like a sacrificial lamb to be like, how many people are over towards the B-bomb side? Okay, only 2, but it has dragged all the rotations out of position. And you can see these players on the A-bomb side, they're all, well, actually recommitting back towards B. Or they're in deep jungle. Matios's backpack has been spotted. The A-bomb site has capitulated. Tani on short needs to be careful. And LTZ on the lurk needs to be careful. He's not overrun. Staying alive here for LTZ is actually just very important. But he actually instantly dies. And it makes this retake a lot more possible for the CT side. But no kit. Keep that in mind.
The last vestiges of utility starting to come through here, so Keystars don't have too much to try to pivot off of. 1 flash remains, but they've managed to take down Remix, which gives them the numbers advantage. Now Clone holding from the jungle position, just biding time, trying to run distraction for as long as humanly possible. Broken's going to be the last one to hold the line, gets that first kill, follows it up with the second, and the entire retake attempt falls by the wayside. Production, you goats. So there it is, 23 ADR ready.
300 damage in 14 rounds. Like, that's actually impressive.
That's like 2 kills. I mean...
Also, I think it was Tane was also on like 30 ADR, so he's getting saved by his IGL, a true captain.
I mean, that being said, all of their ADRs are like sub 100.
Yeah, but like, okay, if your ADR was 100 and you're losing 311, then you deserve a gold medal.
Not the reason one expects to get a gold medal, but we take those. Oh, heavens. All right, we're on the precipice now of map and series point. If Mille can bag this one.
It's just the 4 spies. Like, we're kind of in this position now where it's like 4 spy, 4 spy, 4 spy, 4 spy, 4 spy, 4 spy, 4 spy.
I mean, you said force buy far more times than we're going to have rounds. I'm going to be real with you.
That is true. But it's also, like, it kind of leads to this point then where they're just never going to have anything substantial. Like, there's no utility on the City side at 45 seconds here. Mille, they're just going to start walking out mid. Remix has been hunted down ramp, and with Clone in apps, they're going to speed up towards the B-bomb site. Do they expect the ladder player?
Ways.
No. Do they expect the short player? Definitely not. Coot is on the board.
Bro, I saw Lash get a double there and I thought there's no way he's going to steal all 3 of these kills, man. That would be absolutely devastating. But there you go. In the most unpredictable round imaginable, somehow, Keed Stars give themselves just that little bit longer to live. How much longer remains to be seen. But they've managed to pick up a couple of weapons off the ground as well, so they'll have a little bit of money into this one. There you go. It's not the worst, but... Ooh, actually, Mille is, like, the state of their economy. They've had a few deaths over the last few rounds, so unfortunately, you lose one round and suddenly you're in a really tight spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's very early on. They haven't been able to build economy. No one stayed alive in the previous for them. So they're kind of seeing the negative connotations of that. They also make the right, like, they make the right call in that previous round of like, oh, there's aggression towards A with multiple players. There's probably someone else there. No, it was actually just 2 solo players and the rest stacked B. It's like the right play from Mille and a good call from, like, a good setup from Keed Stars. And I don't really know if they... I don't really know if Keed Stars are going to have this comeback in them. But hey, this is definitely how you start before Mille hit map and series point.
Ooh, chip away at a toe there. And it's working? It's a little bit scary. Lash has managed to survive. LTZ's actually evened things out a little bit here, but Lash really has been such a boon on this map, making up for previous performances, and just continues along that trajectory. Last man standing, CLD. Not too much more that he should be able to do here. Bomb's lost as well, so perhaps just try to survive. Never mind. Lash with 4 kills in that round. Up to 18. Very good. Very nice.
I suppose he's stepped up, but just in the wrong time. I think he got a lot of his kills in the ecos at the beginning, but... well, even then, like, getting the kills against the low purchases. Hey, it's the important rounds you gotta win, though.
Very easy to forget there were only 4 rounds into the second half when you got one team that's already on 11. Still some time, some leeway, bit of wiggle room for Mille. Pressure's not quite on just yet. He'd have the entire map just about.
Yeah, I mean, right now, what Mille are trying to attempt is just to burn out the utility. So rattle off as many pieces as possible, just to make it a little bit more expensive on the reinvestment, and then hopefully catch someone off guard. They do catch Xrubia overextending, but he's able to get 2, and the support is there. Lash farming up a little bit more eco kills. Let's go.
predictable 6th round off the back of the previous. Very curious to see how far Keed are going to be able to extend this potential comeback. Because now Mille are back in the money. Early mid control here. The back and forth. No one really, when I say control, like space denial. But Keed still have the sight lines. LTZ is going to be an important pivot piece here. And that smoke eventually starts to clear. Oh my goodness. That's very unfortunate. Somehow loses out on that spray. So that's that pivot piece that's fallen by the wayside. Bomb's still in spawn at the moment, so there you go. Turn around, going back to collect it. Oh, this aggression could be everything. Clone, only good for that first one. If he'd managed to follow that up, suddenly this starts to look like a far more doable scenario. Look at this, though. Keed have absolutely no qualms about taking a lot of space, getting up close and personal, right up against the smokes, the close environmental cover. Now, a 2-player advantage for Keed means that they are looking good to grab a 7th. Talking about heroics from Mille.
Why are the city sides? Okay. I thought Matheus was going to be there for a second. I was like, what?
No, sir. CLD is going to be left all alone now. Holding the bomb. There's a pincer coming through, so even if he does decide to pivot for whatever reason, it's just not going to be allowed. Doesn't want to die after time, so he'll just run straight into the CTs, and there is that 7th.
Okay, a pretty disappointing gun round where Keedstars make the right moves, but then someone like Broken, he tries to see if he can catch Matheus out of position after they push towards ramp, but instead he just throws away the round for his team. It's like the kind of the play you make when you're so far ahead in the lead and you try and close out the game unnecessarily. Just a bit too hot for Mille, kind of chomping at the bit to close out this best of 3 where they've struggled against Keedstars in the last 2 encounters on LAN in this tournament, but in the elimination game they're looking to cool their nerves a little bit as they've got the lower purchase coming out, and this is gonna and should be allowing Keedstars just to close the gap little by little.
What, this would be a wild way for Keed to win this map. Certainly unexpected. But still a little bit of wiggle room remains for Mille. But it's starting to get a little bit tighter now. Angling for a pretty robust push towards this A bomb site. Already a lot of damage done onto Matheus and forced off of his position as well. Be wary of Lash holding the AWP, and of course they don't really have much weaponry, so we gotta try and get as close as possible. Matheus is already the first to fall. He was low on HP. The site has been given over, so a bomb will be planted, a bit of extra cash in the back pocket. Now down to the retake. A lot of utility available to try and, you know, give them a little bit of a springboard into this. And spring they shall. The trap springs shut, and an 8th round is confirmed for Keedstars. Round number 20.
Yeah, got to make sure they don't lose anyone too early on the default, because that's been where they've really been struggling. It just feels like they've never really been able to sink their teeth into a round. And with the bomb going down the previous, they've got everything they would have ever wanted. That was mission accomplished. Maybe would have wanted to get a few more kills, but hey, you can't ask for everything. And Xrubia, that was very aggressive, trying to get a pick underpass, and it's maybe a little bit lucky to get away with his life.
You give up that position almost entirely now, so room for Mille to take it if they want to. Bomb starts to move away from the mid position. But again, I mean, look at Kid getting really close again. Not afraid to take these aggressive positions. Ooh, clearing mid. It's being somewhat waited for. They don't opt to push all the way further back, just in case. Oh, the timing on this could be phenomenal. They could set up a really strong lurk here. And they know, with all of that util on B, they know it can't possibly be B. Not at the moment, anyway. They're going to start moving down in towards underpass. This is exactly where this defensive line has started to set up. They really don't have time. The pivot away was questionable at best, and now they start to get mowed down. Perhaps they can still win this by elimination. 10 seconds remaining, 1 versus 1. So far away from anyone else. Going to desperately scramble his way. Smoke down for a little bit of cover. And he is able to plant. Ooh, edges the side of the smoke, and somehow, I say somehow, does not had a great showing. If there was anyone that you wanted to be against in that 1v1, he drew the correct straw in that scenario. 12 rounds now for Mille.
That is a ridiculous call. At 20 seconds, coming back into mid with no map control whatsoever, and the lurk top mid from Clone. He just shoots them all in the side as they're tunnel visioning on the players coming from underpass. That is a crazy round to be pulling out of the hat. I was thinking, wow, this is going to a third map, isn't it? Like, this T side is just, they're just playing very poorly. And somehow they get away with it. Look at this round though. Tane's top mid, LTZ's fighting in connector, and there's gonna try go out on the A bomb site. Lash though misses an AWP shot, a pivotal one, but has he baited in Matios towards Sandwich? And Tane, they never knew he was top mid, so he's flanking super quickly. They just need Xrubia and Matios to hold tight, but Xrubia doesn't. Matios only gets one. The flank, it's here though. No one's looking. Clone turns around. Remix can't get the trade, and it needs to be another clutch. This time for CLD, running down the spy in the midst. He gets put down to 12 HP, and Cuts finds his second kill of the game. Impact frags, baby.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, when it came down to that 1v1, I was like, no, surely not, man. Deja vu all over again. This can't be the way it happens. But he steps up. He knew the pressure was on. Could not afford to lose that one. And when his team needed him most, unlike the Avatar, that was exactly when he chose to show up. Day of execution. 3 more opportunities for overtime. Let's see what they can do with this. Sacrifice a little bit of firepower to have some semblance of utility, but Tane just goes dancing his way into mid and gets caught out. Advantage now for Mille. Unfortunately, the gun is not recoverable. That would have been the ideal scenario. We'll find a way to keep pressing forward. Ooh, here's the aggression again. Nice Molotov. Good timing as well. That could have ended quite badly. Wait, actually, that was a CT molly. Huh. Okay. I thought that was a T molly. Oh my god, what are we doing? Broken just springs straight into Zerba's crosshairs. Desperately to get a follow-up off the back of that. Oh god, it's an HE to take out Clone. This round is starting to slip through Mille's fingers. Only one player stands between them and a potential bomb plant here. They don't necessarily know exactly where he is. Trying to check everything. They just delete him from the server. Bomb should be able to get planted here, and now, suddenly, it's a 3v3 in a retake scenario.
Coot coming from short, Lash and Matios from market, a grenade thrown in, chips away at Remix, LTZ deep in apartments. He's going to be able to clear and make sure that no one's coming from this position, allows for his teammates to just focus on market. Matios just slides his way out. He just walks right into Remix's crosshair. He's not even looking the right way. And now Coots is being held for LTZ, moves away at the worst time, and it's an unwinnable clutch for Lash. Uno Mille have finally bested their demons. There's no time left on this defuse, and CLD will make sure that there is going to be no madness. 13-9. Uno Mille progress through to the lower bracket final here in ECL Season 51 in the South American Cup 2. They're going to be facing off against the Met Anoian Wolves, and Keed Stars have been eliminated.
Oh, it's very sad for Keed Stars, particularly because, I mean, they usually come out best in this matchup. For Uno Mille, certainly a feather in their caps. Keed Stars, well, back to the drawing board, and hopefully we'll see more from them if and when they return in Cup number 3. I mean, you know, 6 rounds on that second half, certainly a much better showing than what we'd seen on the first, but when you start at that much of a deficit, it's always going to be quite the uphill battle. Uno Mille nearly dropped the ball, but with the sheer amount of leeway they gave themselves in that first half, it was a much easier affair to drag themselves kicking and screaming over that finish line. So they will move forward and have another opportunity to secure a spot in that regional final. Very, very impressive stuff here. Great resurgence from a team that unfortunately, you know, had struggled in the past. And here, of course, is your updated bracket. So as Freddie was saying, just so you guys can visualize it if you struggle to follow it, Metanoia Wolves obviously winning out their game against Bounty Hunters Esports. So that pits them against Uno Mille a little bit later on in that lower bracket. And then, of course, we still have the upper bracket games yet to be played out. Shinden versus LP. Winner, of course, books their ticket to the grand final. Loser will have to go down into the lower bracket to try and battle their way back into the grand final. But that's going to be it from us here on the South American broadcast. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with us. Remember to check out ESL on social media if you want to keep up to date with all of the news, the schedule, and, you know, that's where all some of the best skits and memes live, so you definitely want to be following that one. North America should be on the cards after a little bit of an extended break, so don't go too far away. But if this is the end for you guys, as it is for Freddie and I for today, then thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Super methodical on this retake as well. They don't want to overcook this.
No one's holding underpass. Bomb is in tunnels, and it's towards behind. But Clone, he's got the backstab. He's had a pretty rough game, but this is an
none of that even helps. They're still pushing for this. That's okay. Trying to do a bit of damage here. Damage is done, but I mean, there's no universe, right? Weaponry at this point to try and find something to do, something to get done, but as that bomb continues to tick down, Clone not going to allow this to be holding this position so far, looking for unscopes at just the wrong time, dear lord, but somehow manages to survive. Totally capable of it. Looked like they might have been even angling for a little bit of aggression. Oh my god, they're just walking straight out of the
timing.
Oh my god.
They all walk past each other. LTZ is going to get backstabbed by Matty. What is going on? Teals only gets one. The flank. It's here though. No one's looking. Clone turns around. Remix. Uno Mille have finally bested their demons. There's no time left on this defuse, and CLD will make